Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to Konoha Side Quest, my second channel, where today we are doing a tier list video. I've just done that intro like 5 times, we're skipping that. So, all my songs in 2020, I released 39 ones that I consider to be my main songs on like my main channel. You know, things that I uploaded videos for, you know, just things that I deem worthy, you know. Some things haven't made the cut that, you know, could be argued should go in here, but you know, this is what I feel are like my songs that I've curated and made, you know. And yeah, we're gonna be tier ranking them amongst themselves in S, A, B, C, D fashion, as is done by a lot of people. I believe Daniel Rustage has done this last year for his 2019 tracks. My 2019 tracks were definitely not of any caliber to put them into any kind of tier list. So 2020, let's go. We can do it now. We've done the right kind of stuff. We've got some good stuff going. And yeah, I'm excited to see your opinion as well. We are live streaming this on Twitch. If you're seeing this on YouTube, you have missed that stream, obviously, but you can join us on twitch.tv/KonoQuestMusic whenever you wish to catch these streams. We have the chat going up above my head, who are going to be yelling at me for the decisions that I make and telling me that they're wrong, but this is my tier list, this is my opinion, and my opinion only. I will not let you scare me into submission and make you change my views. It's not gonna happen. So, the first track that I released of the year was I'm Gotha. Now, take into account, it's the start of the year. Start of my journey. You know, we just switched to Konoha Quest. We just changed the name. You know, it's the beginning. It's, you know, you're slowly kind of, you know, finding yourself. You know, you just kind of not in the right kind of frame of mind yet for, you know, how I want to go about creating my songs. So this is going in solid D tier for me. It's just not that good. It's just not that good. I'm sorry. Look, the chorus was interesting. It was different for me. I went for a very different style in terms of a chorus. You know, it wasn't very rappy. It was a bit more singy, and you know, that will, you know, I'll give it that it pioneered my singing voice and style for some songs. I will give it that. It's not mixed well. The writing is kind of sloppy in places compared to, you know, stuff that I do now. Yeah, I can't in my, you know, conscience give it any more than a D tier, just because I know its quality. Moving swiftly along, Zek, and I know you're mad about that, but I'm sorry. Moving swiftly along, Ripped Apart, my Attack on Titan song, or Eren Yeager song, depending on what you want to call it, featuring Harley CG. I really like this. I really like this song. I know its pitfalls is again in the mixing. It, to be fair, doesn't actually sound that bad compared to other things. Doesn't actually sound that bad. I think the chorus is great. I think the chorus is incredibly well performed, incredibly well written. I love the 3-part harmonies that she did that expand across the choruses. I think my verses are great. I really think they're great. I feel like I could have put a bit more into the delivery of it. But that aside, I'm putting Ripped Apart in a high B tier purely because of how much I enjoy it personally, and I think it's like it's one of my favorite songs that I've done, even if it's on a nostalgic level at this point, because of, you know, it was like one of my only good songs at one point, and the only song I was proud of. So I'm keeping that in a high B tier. Now, how a war can be crafted. I really like this song, but the game was shit. The game was so shit. it was arguably the worst game that released this year. Warcraft Reforged, terrible, tanked, absolutely a catastrophic failure of a game. However, that did not stop me making a song about it, trying to capitalize on my small World of Warcraft fan base that I had on my channel from, you know, previous songs that I did in 2019. Now, I think the verses are great. I think they're a little sloppy at times. I feel like there's certain ways I said stuff that didn't really make sense. Oh, the memories. And there we go. Stargirl gave us a incredible performance with some Gregorian chants, which had never appeared on my channel before. And I would love to do something like that again, because they were the highlight of that track. They really, really were. The Latin in the back, and it was very expansive, and it wasn't awful production, but I definitely think if I'd done the production now, I could have got some way better sounds, just core sounds for the instruments that I was using. Yeah, I think it could have been a lot better. I don't think it was that bad. I do think it was actually a pretty good song. So I'm going to put it in C tier, just for the pitfalls that it obviously has of being an early track. But it raises above Gotha just because I think there was a lot more experimentation in it, a lot more highlights, and a lot more effort put into it generally altogether. Now, we come to the infamous one. The truly, truly infamous track that is Leaf Village. Now, I know people are going to be really, really mad if I don't put this one in S tier. I know people are going to be so angry if I don't put this in S tier. And that's why I'm putting it in S tier, because it's an S tier song. Of course it's an S tier song. It's Leaf Village. How can it not go in S tier? It's so good. Now, let me actually discuss its shortcomings first. Again, for these early songs, mixing is always going to be an issue because of my lack of experience in it. But it was one of the few in that time period that I did produce myself, which I was quite happy about and quite proud of how that came out. Little fact that I sometimes say on this track is that the main flute sample came from the YouTube audio library, which just makes me laugh every time because it was one of my most popular songs, or I think it was definitely my fastest song to reach 10k at that time, which was crazy for me, absolutely insane for me back then. I just found it hilarious that it was basically from the YouTube audio library. But yeah, I think I had some very, very good hitting bars. I still have Mark shouting, "Keep her in Izuku, I keep my dogs on a short leash" to me. So it had to have done something right. And yeah, it was kind of the song that put me on the map for a lot of people. So I have to give it its dues and put it in S tier. I really have to. I can't not. I couldn't not. Let's just face it. I couldn't not. And exactly, it even is referenced in other tracks now that I've done with the Kiba track, which we will come to eventually. And yeah, the Top Speed is Rock Lee, fast part was... I'd stopped doing fast stuff for a while because I realised it wasn't what I wanted to put my focus in, but I knew after that bar I had to do something really quick. And yep, there you go. There's someone putting the whole line in the chat of the fast part. Anyway, speaking of fast rapping, Must Jog Hastily. Must Jog Hastily was my song for the Sonic movie. The Sonic movie, which came out in February of this year. The Sonic movie came out in February of this year. Just let that fucking sink in for a second. This has been a long year. This has been a long fucking year. The Sonic movie feels like it came out years ago. Right? The way I pitched that title to you was a joke. Yeah. It was originally going to be called Gotta Go Fast, but then obviously Must Jog Hastily was just a big meme between me and Stargirl, and fucking had to change it to that. I instantly changed it to Must Jog Hastily. But yeah, I enjoy it. I like it. I think it is better than some of the said previous tracks. The production is weird on it. It's this strange bass drone all the way throughout, kind of drum and bassy, I guess. It was a high BPM. It had to be, because I was trying to rap quite fast on it, and I think I do rap reasonably quick. I don't think quick enough to constitute it as a like super fast sonic rap or anything like that. I think I probably should have gone a little bit faster in places. But yeah, I don't hate it. Again, mixing is meh. You know, it's what it is. It's what it was back then. I think it's going comfortably in D tier, just above I'm Gotha. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with a D tier on that, honestly. Like again, early in the career, it was a fast experimentation. It was a production experimentation. A lot of this is experimentation in the early stages and just seeing what worked. I mean, there's like 5 different genres here already that we've gone through, and one of them has worked really well. So next up, Hughes, my Maze Hughes track from Fullmetal Alchemist. I have a soft spot for this track just because I really love Maze Hughes as a character. He's one of my favourite characters from Fullmetal Alchemist. I would love to do more Fullmetal Alchemist tracks, but they haven't done well historically on my channel. But maybe that was just because I was, you know, not as, you know, expansive back then and wasn't actually as good. So maybe if I make a good Fullmetal Alchemist song, it'll do well. But yeah, I'm going to put this in D tier, above Must Jog Hastily, of course. Just because I tried to do a lot of stuff with it, and it just didn't work at all, really. But yeah, Hughes, I tried to do this strange filtered vocal effect on the chorus that Mark did for me, and I also think the chorus is like out of key in places, but purely because of me, because I wrote the chorus and sent him the thing to do. So, you know, if it's out of key, that's my fault and not the right notes and stuff. It's whatever. It's whatever. I think it definitely still hits me emotionally just because it's the story of Maze. But hey ho, we move on. We grow. It's fine. Next up, Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath was a strange one, to say the least. I distinctly remember starting it on a Thursday night, thinking, oh god, I'm not gonna have a song out this week. And then suddenly, the stars aligned and everything fell into place. And I made a sparkly indie pop Natsu track. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it just spewed out, but it did. And it remains still a good track in my opinion, especially for the time. And some people's favourites, as was shown in the live show performance, which was the encore song in my live show performance because people wanted it that badly. Dragon's Breath, it gets B for me. It gets B tier for me, and that is purely based on the the mixing on it. The mixing on it is no, it's not S tier. It's not S tier. It's not S tier. The mixing on it is really not good. The bass specifically in it is so over-encompassing of everything else. It really is so like absorbing, especially in the verses. You can tell I have not cut the bass out to where my vocal is, so my vocal just cannot reach over the bass. It's not as bad in the chorus, obviously, because there's more layering on the chorus. I think the chorus sounds pretty okay. Yeah, it gets B mainly just because of like the strange success that it had, the feeling of it that it gives off, the chorus especially. Like, I think it's definitely one of my better choruses. It was where I kind of really started to come into my sort of singing voice and like seeing what worked and things like that. Dragon's Breath, high B. It's gonna be high B. You know, it gets just under Ripped Apart because I think the verse performance on Ripped Apart was better. I think high B for Dragon's Breath. I agree with myself on that. Stargirl does not. I do. Rescue team. I don't even have to talk about this one. That's getting a D. That's straight in D. Rescue team was my Pokemon Mystery Dungeon rap for the Switch remake. Again, if I just had a bit more time with it, I probably could have made something better. I was going away on a trip at the time. This was before lockdown or anything like that. I was going away down south somewhere, and I just did not have the time to do something properly with it. I rushed it very last minute. The video says a lot about that as well. The video is awful. I tried to do a few things with it. I really like the chorus in it. I do really like the chorus in it. I only kind of like one part of the chorus though, which is technically the bridge, I guess. It's a very short bridge. But I like it. I like it in that sense. But again, there. It's very there. It's very there. So I think it deserves the D tier there. My Doom Eternal track, Meet Your Doom. This gets a high C for me. There we go. High C for Meet Your Doom. Meet Your Doom was the first time I really kind of experimented properly with very heavy things that came out well. Was my voice okay after it? Yes, surprisingly. Surprisingly, my voice was okay after it. Like I say, it was the first time I'd successfully done shouty vocals without just KOing my voice. And it was where I kind of found, like, okay, this is how I can project this grit in my vocal without it just hurting. Because previous times I'd done that, it really hurt and I absolutely destroyed my throat. But Meet Your Doom, I actually did it really successfully. It's one of my best written verses purely from a rhyme perspective. There's not an awful lot of bars in it, but in terms of just like sentences rhyming, like there's very few parts in that verse that don't rhyme, which I was very, very happy with. So yeah, and again, Astilde did a great job on the track, and Ninethy did a great job on the track. I think his backup stuff in the chorus really helps a lot with the grit and punch in it. I still think it's a C track, just because, again, everything like pretty much from here is like gonna be lowish tier, just because of mixing and things that I couldn't really control because of my skill level at the time. But it was all practice. It was all practice. Concrete Crows, my haiku song. That is straight to the bottom. Straight to the bottom. D tier. Bottom D, Concrete Crows. There's very few songs of mine that I can no longer listen to. And that is one of them. That is one of them. I can't listen to Concrete Crows because it's just mixed so badly. I did a whole 3 verses and the hook changed up, and that was the only good part about it. It is mixed so badly. Vocal wise as well, because the instrumental mixing was done by Bass Olaf, and he actually did a very decent job with it. But the vocal mixing is just non-existent. I don't know what I was doing. It just doesn't exist. It's not there. It's vacant. And I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking. I do not know what I was thinking. Absolutely do not. It's just something I can't listen to anymore. I would love to do another haiku track, or at the very least redo this one at some point. And I may do that. I don't like doing that because I don't like falling back on old content. I like, doing fresh things, and just if something didn't work, I'm not just going to redo what I did back then. I'm going to try something different and new and better. Like, that's just my philosophy personally, and that's always been my philosophy. It's why I've never sat on things for years and stuff like that. I have sat on a few things for, a substantial bit of time, but, I know people that would sit on, especially when I went to university, like, I knew people that would sit on songs for 6 months before they released it, and I'm just like, in that 6 months you could have made a better song, because in those 6 months you'll have progressed and gotten better. So that song is now not your best work, and you're going to release it in 6 months time, and you'll have made something better in that time. So why don't you just then release that? It doesn't make any sense to me. Sitting on stuff has never made sense to me, which is why the kind of YouTube content production has worked so much better to me, being able to follow that philosophy of just not even churning out stuff, because you can still take your time, but just like, don't sit on it. Don't stunt your progression because you want to, you know, hold back for the perfect time and do the marketing and all this stuff. Like, that stuff's great, don't get me wrong, and it's great for like an album, but when you're doing this stuff, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, so maybe I will hopefully try and reinvigorate my haiku song at some point, because I love haiku so much. I love haiku so much. And I'm ashamed in myself that I gave it this tribute. Like I say, some of the lines are really good in it. I really like some of the lines, but yeah, I just need to do better on that front. Nemesis for me gets a low B. Nemesis for me gets a solid low B. I really liked Nemesis. Outcast Ray brought this incredibly creepy vibe to it. I think the effects that I had to her vocal as well really enhanced that. She's got that laugh, which was great at the start, exactly what I wanted. Illiterate from the Scribes, guy I've had on my channel a couple of times now. Insane lyricist, absolutely destroyed it. He brought like such a different flavor to the track that, like, you know, I don't think anyone else could have done. Funny story with Baker. Baker's one of the like few guys that comes to me and is like, yo, can I get on that track? I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Because he saw that I was doing a Resident Evil 3 track, and he was like, yo, I love Resident Evil 3, can I be on it? And I'm like, yeah, hop on, dude. I just love him. He's so enthusiastic. It's fantastic. I love the dude, and he slayed it. He absolutely slayed his thing as well. And you can like, I love it when you do get people that genuinely enjoy the subject matter as well on these things, because they always provide just a better experience and a more enthusiastic performance as well. And I think that track came out great. And I said this on Twitter the other day. I have some bars in that track. I have some serious overlooked bars in that track that are so good. That they're so good, and they will just never see the light of day again because they're already in this song. But yeah, Nemesis, I was happy with it. It's a low B. It's fine. It's not awful. But it's also not the best. It's also not the best. Izuku Midoriya. Now here's where things start to kind of... We're cranking forward a little bit. We're cranking forward. You know, we've done all these tracks. Who made the instrumental for this one? This was an instrumental done by a guy called Sohoho Beats that I bought off BeatStars. I think it was one he sent me like a package thing as well. I really liked it. I really liked it. And I thought it fit quite well for Midoriya, for Deku. My one problem with this song is the chorus was way too much for me. You can really hear the strain in it. In my vocal, there were just points where I just I could not quite get there. It's a shame, because I could have just got someone else on the chorus, because I did actually delay this song for a little bit. But I decided to try and do it myself, and it's just on the verge of being too much, and that makes it sound a little strained. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad song. Again, I think the verses are pretty good. The mixing again is, you know, I'm gonna give it a high C. I'm gonna give it a high C, just because it was kind of like one of my better songs at that time as well. Now, something happened after Izuku Midoriya, and that something was entitled Fortune Favors the Bold. Now this is going straight in A tier, just off the bat. Just off the bat. Now Fortune Favors the Bold really marks just like a switch in me to where I just started making good songs. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I just started making good songs finally. It's like all of this that we've just put in here was all the like the training arc, and Fortune Favors the Bold was my battle with the final boss, and I just somehow pull it out of my ass somewhere, and then from there I'm just Luffy Gear 2. Like, it's crazy. It was crazy. I don't know what happened, because I'm telling you right now, nothing beyond this point is D tier. Nothing. And there's very few that are in C tier. My catalogue from this point, in my opinion, is really good. And I don't know why. I don't know why it changed. Because when you compare it to all of this that we've just put in here, all of this is trash compared to what I came out with in the latter half of the year. Don't know what I was doing. Don't know what happened, but one day I just made Fortune Favors the Bold. I made some incredible bars in it, a really hype chorus. You became better friends with me, Daniel, and Mark. Honestly, yeah. Honestly, I remember sending Fortune Favors the Bold to Daniel and Mark specifically, and being like, hey, check this out. And they were like, holy shit, this is really good. And then obviously with you, I had you convincing me to do the chorus on Monster, which came out super well. You know, we had the Last of Us song, which we like vaguely did together, or at least I was coming to you with like so much advice on it because you were like the Last of Us fucking sensei. But yeah, just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But anyway, Fortune Favors the Bold, easy A tier. I love the beat. There's so many good bars in it. I just went crazy with the verses on that. The chorus I think is really cool too. It's one of the. I surprisingly didn't have to use any auto-tune on that. Surprisingly, never added auto-tune to it, which I maybe should have done, but my voice just happened to sit quite well in the range that it was doing, which I didn't think it would. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's definitely a good A tier for me. The Roar of a Lion. High B, above Ripped Apart. Right next to the other one I did with Harla, Roar of a Lion Escanor song. Did that with Harla. She came through with a great chorus. This one came out well because I was going for something much heavier. I was going for more like a kind of Avenged Sevenfold vibe. And so when I was down on that trip that I mentioned earlier before, I started work on this song with a friend who I went to uni with, who is amazing at programming drums, plays guitar and bass incredibly well, and he helped me build the kind of structure around this song and really get what was in the melodies that were in my head really projected onto a DAW platform. Again, the mixing has some things to be desired, just because it was, again, only the second time I'd really worked with anything super heavy with my vocal. So, a little bit drowned out in places, but not as bad as something like Meet Your Doom. So I think it does have the edge on that a little bit, and also there's some really great writing in there. I just had a really great writing spree for some part of this year with Fortune Favors the Bold, Roar of a Lion, Pirate Stream, Cataclysm. Like, some of these have really, really good writing in them, in my opinion. But yeah, Roar of a Lion, high B, pretty easy, put that there. Then we move on to See Her Again, my Tower of God track. This is low A for me. I really, really like this track. I seriously like the production on it. I think it's one of my more creative productions. Really like the production. There were a lot of weird things that I tried to do with it. Had like this very weird like pumpy bass sound in the back. And I think it fit the vibe for Tower of God really well, because it is this kind of strange combination of genres. Like, it's fantasy, but there's some like good with magic elements, but then there's like some tech elements in it, and you know, things that don't really make sense, and very like god imagery and all this kind of stuff. It's such a mishmash of things, to its downfall sometimes. But I really like that track. I really like that track. Chorus is one of my better sung choruses, but not my best. I had a lot of vocal effects on it, which definitely enhanced it. But like, it wasn't my best performance of a chorus. However, I still do enjoy it. Pretty much anything that I had in my set list, which is still up on my wall, I obviously really enjoy, because otherwise it wouldn't have been on the set list. So, A Pirate's Dream, featuring Rustage, One Piece track. I tried to go for this sea shanty vibe. I think I did it fairly successfully, but I think I could have done a little bit more in certain places. But it wasn't the worst thing. It wasn't the worst thing that we could have done. I think the chorus was a little bit repetitive. Probably could have added a little bit more variation in there. But I think the bars were there. Daniel came through with an amazing verse. Yeah, I think it suits One Piece very well, and you know, that's why I give it a high B. But there's just a little bit to be desired for it. A little bit to be desired. Tell Me We'll Be Alright. This is going high A for me. I really like this track. Not one that did well. Purely because, you know, at this point I was kind of very much getting deep into anime, and I released a gaming track, and it was The Last of Us, not The Last of Us 2, so, you know, there was a lot of factors here. But personally, I think this is one of my only successful attempts at being emotive in a track, at telling a good story, whilst also integrating pretty good bars, having a hard-hitting punch at the end. Really, I really love the kind of ghostly production on it. You know, the strings in the back, the breaths, the percussion isn't really even drums per se. There's a lot of like clicky camera shutter-esque elements in it that I think just really bring the vibe out. Like, I don't even know what kind of vibe it is, but it just brings the vibe of The Last of Us out. Then you have the chorus, which integrates a sample that I found of a vocalization that's pitched down a little bit, saying "Tell Me We'll Be Alright," and just kind of chop that up a little bit here and there. Then I had myself doing a, you know, regular few lines on it, and then Stargirl had the idea to add that female vocal to have the representation of Ellie, and also just to fill out that little bit of space that was lacking in the highs, that I think worked fantastically. And she doesn't like that they're like teensy little bit out of each other. I really do, and I think it adds to it. I think it adds to the fact that they're not quite perfect. You know, they're not quite a perfect match. But this is the thing. Why did I have to bring that up? They're not quite a perfect match, but they work together, and I think that's a perfect representation of Ellie and Joel, because they did clash. They had their scuffles, but in the end they complemented each other well. The overall product of them was good, and I think that's exactly the same here. So I really like that. And plus, I'm a big fan of like things that are a little bit off kilter anyway, but still work. And I've never been able to successfully do that in tracks with like polyrhythms and swing and stuff like that. And that's one of the few moments I'm very proud that we were able to do that with that sweet symbolism. Yeah, exactly. It's symbolism, and it just works musically, in my opinion. Even if it didn't have the symbolism, I think the swing on it works in a music sense. Next we have I'll Be a Monster, my Gara track. I really like this song, and I think it does have to go S tier. I think it does. It has to go S tier. It really was a surprising success for me. I'm very, very grateful that people enjoyed this one. It's one of the only songs that I have sat on for a long time. I started this song back in January or February. Surprising? It was surprising because, like, I just didn't think people were going to enjoy it as much as they did, or I didn't expect the reactions that were going to come out of it. Because I'd started to sing a little bit in, like, See Her Again, I'd sang a little bit in Dragon's Breath, and, like, I didn't think it was going to be, like, such a shock for people. But obviously it kind of trumped those two in terms of, like, just, I guess, raw performance. And yeah, Lolia killed it. Lolia came with that really great female vocal on it that juxtaposed everything compared to the little kind of grittier parts of mine. I worked with Stu Brutal on the production. He absolutely smashed it out of the water. Absolutely loved it. I sent him like this super bare bones melody and drum pattern and everything, and he just came back with this absolutely awesome thing. And not only did, as Stargirl says, did I decide to keep my vocal on it, because I originally wasn't going to. It was going to be all Lolia. But Stargirl and a few others did convince me that I should keep the vocal on there. And I was still unsure. And there was a point where I was like, to my producer, I was like, oh, here's the female vocal, but I think I'm actually going to keep my vocal in there as well. And he was like, yeah, I thought that's what you were going to do anyway. And I was like, oh, no. Why? Why must you give this validation? So that was good. And yeah, the biggest I told you so ever. It really was. It really was. So yeah, I'm super happy with how that came out. The reactions to it were really good, especially Game Boy's always sticks out to me, because he just like definitely wasn't expecting me to sing. And yeah, I was happy. I was happy with that one, how that one came out. Speaking of another one I was happy with how it came out, Cataclysm, S tier, easy. I mean, not only do I like Fire Force, but I like the track that I did for a character that was barely in the show at the time, and I managed to get like 2 whole verses out of him. This is why I am here, number 1 S tier. You like Cataclysm? Oh, bless. I really like this track. I really like this track. One of my favorite choruses that I've done. I like this chorus personally even better than I'll Be a Monster, just because of the nuances in it. And there's just I have this song on my Spotify playlist. Oh my god. I don't. Oh, well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that a lot. Oh, you have me flustered, sir. You have me flustered. Cataclysm, yeah, honestly, again, like, this was like a period where I was just fucking sending Stargirl like everything that I had, because obviously I'll Be a Monster was a success, so anything that I had singing, I was just like, is this good? Is this good singing? Can this go out? And again, it was a quick one. Like, I started it on a Wednesday, and I released it on a Friday, because I was like, I just finished Fire Force, and I was like, okay, I've got the inspiration for it, let's try and bash this out. And I remember I was sat in my studio at 4 a.m. and I did this like really quiet rendition of the chorus, because I was like, I can't let this escape my head, because I had it right there. I was like, I cannot let this chorus escape my head, so I did it, even though I was potentially going to wake people up. And then I obviously redid it the next morning. And yeah, there's a really awesome rhyme part in there that I was super proud of, with the secrets of human combustion. There will be the judge of your people and run them. The team is abundant. We're mean like a thugs. We're releasing the bugs and abusing their function. Like, just all of that rhyme scheme I was so happy with. It took like 3 hours, by the way, to get all those pieces in there. But yeah, I was super happy with Cataclysm. I think it's one of my best songs, and probably will be for a while, honestly. I was happy. I was even happy with the mixing on it. Like, this is all these as well. I'm starting to get a real handle on how to mix myself, and you know what I think sounds good on my voice and things like that. I have a lot of standard defaults that I do on my voice now, and obviously just, you know, tweak them depending on what I am doing in the track. I was pretty happy with Cataclysm. Pretty gosh dang happy. Fold Me Down, I think, is getting a high C, because I personally think I could have done more with it. Love Freest's verse on it, for starters. Love his verse. And I'm a pretty big fan of my verse as well. I think I could have done a lot more to the chorus. I really like the beat. I could have, again, like, I could have just added a lot more to this. It does have such a fun sound, and I should have expanded on that. I should have had a few more intertwining elements. I should have had a bit more variation here and there, just to really bump up that fun factor. And I think I just didn't enough. Again, still a really fun song. High C. Definitely a high C. Rumpelstiltskin doesn't rhyme with Crumple This King. Shut up, Brennan. Shut up, Brennan. Now we come to Jinchuriki. I guess it does kind of have to go in S tier, doesn't it? It does kind of have to go in S tier. It really does. I am putting it below Cataclysm because I will listen to Cataclysm way more often. But Jinchuriki, definitely an S tier. Definitely one of my best endeavors that I've kind of taken on YouTube generally. It was a super big surprise that it did as well as it did. It was my first 1 million, which was, you know, still really mad. Really mad. And yeah, to think this almost didn't happen. It took, like, again, a lot of convincing to be like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, let's do a Jinchuriki cipher. Everyone wants it. This is the thing that has been in every fucking comment section since anime ciphers began, and no one wants to do it. No one wants to fucking do it. Mark didn't want to do it, Daniel didn't want to do it, I don't think NLJ wanted to do it, and he would have been like the most likely person to do it in my opinion. Game Boy Jones didn't want to do it. Like, everyone had this opinion, like, Jinchuriki cipher is an awful cipher to do because there's just nothing on these characters. And so I was like, well, how hard can it be? He did have it in the plans. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, he was like, if I didn't do it, then I would at least, yeah, because when he came to me, because I was like struggling to get a last person involved, and he DM'd me saying if someone was going to do this, then I wanted to be involved in it if it wasn't going to be me or something. Something along those lines. You are right, though. I think he was, again, yeah, he would have been the most likely person to do it. Again, I made this really cool beat, in my opinion. Like, I really like the production on this. Shadow has complimented the production on it a lot, which I really thank him for. Yeah, we just got fucking great people for it. We got great people for each person. Like, I kind of had to take Gaara because I was either going to take Gaara or Naruto, and I thought I'm going to be first on it, so I might as well take Gaara, the one tails, because I wanted to do it in tail order. Savvy, this was the point where Savvy was kind of taking her break and really focusing on her flow and sound, and I think this was one of the first examples of her really getting a super good punchy flow on it. And she had some great bars in there as well. NLJ came through with a really good verse on it for the Three Tails. Not sure if Three Tails would have been his first choice, but they were the only ones left at that point, kind of, because I had a dropout for the Three Tails. No, sorry, I had a dropout for the Five Tails. It wasn't a dropout. What was it? I can't remember. It wasn't a dropout. It was a non-response. It was a non-response. You're right. I had someone in the works. Yeah, I asked someone, never got a response. So I wanted to give them a bit of time to respond, and then I was like, okay, Zach's doing the 3. Wait, NLJ might do the 3. Zach, you might do the 5. It was a big circle essentially of like, do people want to do this? And yeah, the casting was fun. It was a switcheroo. The casting was really good in my opinion. Obviously then you had Mark as Urataka or Urataka or whatever. It really was. Then Stargirl with her incredible performance as Fu. Then you had Game Boy, who was always going to be Killer Bee. Always. Shadow as the Four Tails, he was perfect. He was absolutely perfect for that role as well. That's something I really do try and focus on with my ciphers personally, is getting the casting right and getting the person to really fit the person that they're rapping as. Which I know isn't necessarily important, but I feel like it just adds this little bit of breath into the ciphers. This little bit of life really kind of ties it into the world as well. Did I choose Dreaded because of his Akatsuki Cypherverse? I mean, his Akatsuki Cypherverse was the first I'd heard of Dreaded. Thank you for letting me be Fu, I love her. I didn't let you be Fu, you were always going to be Fu. There's no way I was going to let you get away with not being in the cipher, because you made me do it. Yeah, he has a nice dark tone that we thought suited the Ten Tails. Yeah, it was just kind of a funny coincidence that he'd done Obito twice. And I mean, you could argue that he wasn't rapping as Obito, really. We basically co-organised it, we really did. It was our first, like, co-project that we really put together. It just came out great. It just really came out great. Rustage, obviously, bringing the narrative verse as well. Kind of had to put Rustage as the big man. Had to get Rustage on it. Like, that was a worry for me, was like, he said that he didn't want to do the cipher, and I was like, does that mean he, like, won't do it at all? Like, even if there is one? And I was like, will you be Naruto? And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. I was like, fuck yes! It was like, all the pieces are coming into place here. Yeah, hypothetically, you've got a question to do it, yeah. So sheepish. Jinchuriki was a massive success. Super happy with it, super proud. Following on from Jinchuriki, we have Ashes, my Shigaraki track. I think this is a low B. I like it. I'm not a huge fan of the chorus. There's some great bars in it. This was still on my, like, good writing run. And yeah, I enjoy it. I think it fits Shigaraki quite well. I had such a hard time with that chorus as well. Like, originally I was gonna sing it and there was like a melody, but the key and the notes were so wonky that I couldn't get the melody to really sound good without it sounding so off. So I ended up rapping it, which I think just didn't sound as good. And I did have a feature on it for a long time that ended up not working out. So then I had to write the second half as well. Which I think was good, because I came out with, I got a good stream out of it, and I came out with some good lines. I have the Keith Richards bar in there, which I think is one of my best bars of all time. I really, really do. That's nothing. What was it? Something like, it's only when you're a pot of ash that you'll earn my respect, and that's nothing to sniff at. Keith Richards. I just fucking love that line so much. But yeah, Ashes, not too much to say on it really. I think it is just a very mid track for me. But then we move on to Forget About Me, one of my more emotional tracks, and one that is purely singing. Purely singing, no rap in it whatsoever, and I think that was the first time I'd ever done that. And for me, it gets a low A. I think it was a good, successful attempt at it. I think it does hit a good emotional depth. I think the lyrics can be quite relatable, even if, you know, you don't realise that they're talking about 7 deadly sins. And yeah, I like King and Diane's story. I liked it a lot, and I think that that was the best way that I was ever going to do a King song, because I don't think I could have rapped about him. I feel like if I was going to do a King song, it would have had to been about this subject matter. I like it a lot. I think it's good. I think it's good. Number 1, my Deku, Bakugo and Todoroki track, featuring the UK trio themselves, hashtag UK bias, Rustage and Schwabity. I'm putting this in high A, just in the middle, or middle A, under Fortune Favours the Bold. I think that this is a good track. I don't know if it's the best UK trio track by quite a while. It's the only UK, well, I say it's the only UK trio track on my channel, it's not. But it's the only one that I've done personally or myself. Obviously with their verses. I like it. I think we all did really good jobs. I love Daniel's verse with the breath stuff that he did, and I don't know about that one, Chief. I just love the way he said that line. And then you've got Mark coming in with the really aggressive Bakugo, which he was always going to do really well. It is still the outro for my side quest channel. I do really think that this is a good beat. I think it hits very hard. I was very, very happy when I did make it. But just comparatively to other things, I feel like they have this certain thing about it. I don't know, it just felt like it was lacking something. And I don't know what that something was, but it just felt like it was missing something. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was that it was missing, but it was just something when you know, compare it to the other tracks that we've done as a 3. Yeah, it was just missing something. It's just missing something. Super, my Frankie track from One Piece. I'm putting that into high B. I really do like Super. I really like the production in it. Again, I feel like the mixing has something to be desired, personally. I don't know what I would do differently, though. I think I just need better experience of working with dubstep bass. I don't know what else I could have done differently on this track, honestly. I don't know what else I could have done, but again, I just felt like it was lacking something. Maybe just a creative edge. Maybe just something a little bit different in the samples that I was using for stuff like the drums, and maybe just a little bit of extra mixing on my vocal, because it does sound a bit thin in places. Really love the performance that Ozza gave on the chorus that I wrote. Love his vocal on that. And also, he's a massive Frankie fan. He's a massive Frankie fan, so I had to get him on it, because I asked Daniel, like, oh, who do you think I should get on this chorus? And for this Frankie song, and he was like, oh, why don't you ask Ozza? He loves Frankie. And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. Like, again, like, it's this thing of like people who, you get people in that have a connection to the subject matter, and they're always going to give you a better performance. And you know, he loved the track and how it sounded. So yeah, it was awesome to, you know, first time work with Ozza as well, because he's a great artist, and to work on something that he like was passionate about and actually enjoyed was good as well. You know, I do have to worry that like I'll present something to someone and it won't be something they're really into. So it's always nice that when they're into it as well. Short Leash. I think this is good middle A. I like it. It was never gonna top Leaf Village. It was never gonna top it. It was never gonna top it. The sequel is never as good as the first movie. Let's be real. There's very few cases where that's true, Shrek being one of them. It was one of my favourite songs that I've written, purely because of the experience of writing it was just super fun with all the dog shit. Not with all the dog shit, with all with all the dog puns and dog bars. It was super fun doing the woofs. Honestly, I just had fun making this. I had so much fun making this song. And it really was inevitable that when I did a Kiba song, I was going to have to say, Kiba and Izuku, I keep my dogs on a short leash. And it just became like my own little personal meme. And I was super happy with how this came out. Next up, Clover Leaves, my Black Clover song. I think we're going to... So here's the thing, do we put it in B for black or C for clover? Which one? Which one do we go for? I think it's going to be a high C for me. High C for me, personally. Again, it's one of those ones where I wish I'd spent a bit more time on it. Maybe just an extra week or something. Sailor came through with an amazing chorus. Really liked her little bridge at the end that she did, the kind of more rappy, singy stuff. I thought that was really nice. Yeah, I just wish I'd spent a bit more time on it. The flow in some places is a little bit stretched out. I think I could have done a little bit better in terms of the flow. I think the writing's good. I think it's a little bit simplistic in places. There's some lines that don't really make a lot of sense. I just wanted to say it because I thought of it and I thought there's no way I'm gonna be able to say this again where it's gonna make sense. Like the double arm casted line, like it's clever, it works, but like no one fucking got it. But I was never gonna be able to say that again. So I just went for it, and like a dentist, I said, and I fucking meant, like a dentist practicing at home, I'm bracing myself, and no one reacted. No one reacted to that line, and it was just like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair, to be honest. That's fair. But yeah, it's a decent track. It's a decent track. I love Black Clover, so I would love to do more Black Clover stuff, but there's just like, apart from Asta and Yuno, there's not really anyone else. I could do Leaked, I guess, but I'd need to read more to get to a better point with him. Yami, I could do Yami actually. Again, I just need to read more. When You Need Me. This is an S tier song for me. This is an S tier song for me. Do I put it above or below I'll Be a Monster? I'm gonna put it above just because it means a bit more to me personally. Yeah, it's an S tier song. It's an S tier song. It's good. It's really good. It has a lot of personal value to me, so I think that's probably could be somewhat affecting my decision. Again, very different vibe that I went for. I wanted to do something different for Mirio again because of with the King song. I didn't want to just rap about Mirio because I'm not a huge fan of the character, so I would have found it hard. So I decided instead to take a part of his story and his relationship with someone else and try and, in this case, mold it to more my experience and something that, you know, I felt passionately about, to try and get a little bit more out of it, essentially, which I think worked. I think worked a lot. I wasn't planning to rap on it at all, but I feel like it just was ramping up to that point where, like, okay, yeah, this is a good part to rap in, and so I did the rap verse. Still tried to keep it a little bit ambiguous, but still throwing in little bits of Mirio-esque elements in there. And yeah, I think it came out really, really well. I think it came out really, really well. I was happy with it. If I did it again, if I did something like it again, I would work a little bit more on the auto-tune elements, just tightening those up and cleaning them up a bit. I also spoke to Sailor on it, Sailor and Stargirl on this, about my singing on it, because I was like, I want to make sure I get this right, because obviously it is a bit more of an emotional track. And they both of them said that there was this kind of more nasally element in a little bit of it that I tried to fix up slightly, and I think that was something to do with my mixing as well. However, I did retake a couple of the bits to try and make it a little bit less nasally, and I think it worked. I don't think it's too nasally anymore, but it might still be a little bit in some places. But that was just my singing technique at the time. I feel like it's gotten a little bit better in projection. That's When You Need Me, and I'm very happy with it. I was very happy with that song. Space Invader. I think that this is an A-tier song, kind of mid-A tier, just above Short Leash. I really do like Space Invader. I really do like it. Again, I was in this kind of very creative mood to just go a little bit wacky with shit, a little bit wild. And obviously I was going to have to do an Among Us song, because Among Us was poppin'. Among Us was seriously poppin', way more than anything had for so long, so it was inevitable. And while my Among Us song didn't necessarily do as well as I had anticipated or hoped, it still did very well. I'm still very happy with how it did. And I was also really happy with how it came out. You'd had people doing this imposter take, you'd had people doing this crewmate take, and then I kind of went into it like, well, the whole point of it is pretending that you're a crewmate until you actually turn out that you're the imposter. So I tried to go at it from both angles of being a crewmate, but then it's like, oh wait, I'm actually lying, die. And I went for this really crazy electronic production, very dubstep-esque, kind of starts off a little bit more just like, kind of like very light, starry sci-fi elements, and then does that like hard switch with the included the sound of the alarms going off. Yeah, I think this has a lot to be said for it, and I was very, very happy with how it came out. I quite like the ending as well. Strike You Down, my Zenitsu song. This is a high B for me. Another one that actually spent quite a long time in production, because I actually had a completely different beat. It's high B, okay? It's just on the edge. And the reason for that is because I did not spend a lot of time writing the lyrics. I think the lyrics could be a hell of a lot better. I think the delivery on the lyrics could be a lot better. Chi smashed it. She smashed the chorus. But the funny thing about that chorus is this whole thing went through so many changes. It was in a whole different key at one point. It had a completely different beat. It went through a lot of changes. It was quite a tedious song. So I think at the end of it and during the writing, I kind of just got a little bit lazy with it, unfortunately. So that is completely my fault as to why it's a high B. Okay, When the Pin's Pulled, my Bakugo song featuring Breton Boy. I think this is another high B. Again, attributing that to the mixing, it was super hard to mix. Super hard to mix because there was so much guitar in it. So much guitar. So much guitar and so many. There was guitar, there was bass, there was all these drums, and then there was just like trying to get my vocal to sit on top of that comfortably was very difficult. I think Breton's verse came out very well. I feel like it was a little bit drowned in some places, but that's obviously not his fault. But yeah, I was happy with the Bakugo track. I'm very interested as to like the reaction of like the difference between my Deku, my Bakugo, and my Todoroki track, and then looking at like the number one track with all three of them and like that little like sequence together. Comparing all of them is going to be really fun. Behind That Smile is definitely getting an S tier from me, and it's going at the top of S tier. I fucking love Nagisa. I fucking love this track. This was, again, just I really went for something different on it. I really went for something a little bit weird and different. I just love how this came out. I think it's one of the best things I've produced. It was some of my tightest writing since that like good period I had in the middle of the year. Yeah, I just really, really, really loved this song. I don't even know where it came from. I really don't even know where it came from. It just kind of spewed out one day, and I was just like, holy shit, this is actually really fucking good. This is really fucking good. I was super, super happy with it. And I'm glad other people seem to. And I did the throat technique, yeah. So I saw a TikTok that literally was talking about if you raise your throat like that when you sing, you can actually get a more powerful whisper sound. It was really weird, but it worked because I did it and I used it and I got a much more powerful whisper sound. So, hey, TikTok is good sometimes. Triple Threat, really like Triple Threat. That's going S tier for me. I think I'm going to put it bottom S tier. Oh, I just love Shara's verse on it. Just love it. Love it so much. It captures the essence of the character so well. And yeah, I was definitely expecting something a bit more character driven, but to get that level on it was just so good. Diggs, my man, it's really all just love. You kidding? League of Villains, so I guess it's all just love. Oh, so good. They were like the two prime people to get on this track. So happy I managed to get them on it. I was really, really happy with my chorus that I did on it, actually. Just difference in each one and just picking a good line from there. It was always the ending line, wasn't it? Yeah, it was always the ending line in the end. And then having that kind of organy sort of sound with the melody in there. I just think it was a bit different. I just thought it was very different. I liked it a lot. I like trying different things for the chorus. The Dragon Slayer Cipher. This was an interesting one, because this was actually technically a duo production with myself and Game Boy Jones. And I believe Mr. Tyler produced the one on Game Boy Jones's channel, who is not here anymore, but shouts to Mr. Tyler Clark, who was in here earlier. Yeah, we decided to do some weird things on this one. So we swapped our verses round. So on his track, I did Natsu and he did Acnologia, and vice versa on mine. I did Acnologia and he did Natsu on my version. My version was created first. I produced the initial beat that was presented on my channel, and that is what everyone rapped to. Then we gave all of the verses to Tyler, gave him the BPM, gave him the... I think we gave him the same key as well, because obviously Chi-Chi did some singing, so they had to be in the same key at the very least. And he molded something around those vocals, which, you know, is an impressive feat in itself, to be honest. I think that can be very, very difficult to do, to mold something unique around vocals that were, especially in rap, suited for something else. I think that's a definite skill in itself, and I was happy with how both of them came out, honestly. I think they each have their own merits to them. I feel like certain verses sound better on, you know, individual ones, but overall I just love them both. I think they're both great productions, and I would happily put this in S tier, honestly. I would happily put this in S tier. Maybe just above Leaf Village. There we go. That's a good place. Power Creep. So this is the single version of Power Creep. Just the single with me, Shwabadi, and Rustage again. Technically, the second UK trio track on my channel. Technically, yeah. I would put this. I would put this in S. I would put this in S. Honestly, I quite easily actually. I'll just move Triple Threat there as well. I think it's a really good showing from all of us. We have some great verses in there. And this is what I mean, like, you know, because this was very bottom heavy at the start of this, but now we're really starting to fill out this top section. I had some great lines in it. Daniel obviously had his infamous line, and then Mark had a great showing as well. Did a really good job with the production. Yeah, just a really good UK trio show out. Call Me my Karma track. That's gotta get an S tier. Just under Cataclysm for me, personally. Again, that one was just, like, I really was on this run with Assassination Classroom. I was still reading it at the time. And it was like every time I finished a chunk of Assassination Classroom, I just wanted to write a song about it. And I just finished it recently, so that should tell you something, really. So we had Nagisa, we had Karma. I really wanted to go for something a lot darker for Karma. You know, Nagisa was dark, but it was fun. You know, it was hoppy. It had this like bouncy element to it still. Karma, I just wanted to be super gritty, super grime, super grungy. Not even grungy really, but just like, I mean, it has these like kind of chainy elements going through it, and yeah, I just wanted it to be like, you know, just a fuck off track. You know. Just like you're telling someone to fuck off in a song. That's what I wanted to make, essentially. And I think I did pretty well. With Call Me. A very, very cool production, in my opinion. Venom 3. That is, again, we're going for an S tier, because it is an S tier song, isn't it? Like, look at this. This is what I mean. Later in the year, something just happened, and I just started making a load of S tier songs. Venom 3 is so good. I really like Venom 3. Obviously it's a massive meme now that every Orochimaru song has to be called Venom, and I think I am partly responsible for that, because like, for Fable, it was a genuine respect to Daniel having a song called Venom already. He didn't want to call it Venom as well, so he called it Venom 2, so that there was a good differentiation of the two. I wanted to call it Venom 3 because funny. And I thought it would be super hilarious to just continue on the Venom the Venom trilogy. And soon the Venom quadrilogy, and then maybe the saga. Who knows? Who knows how far this joke will go? But we will see. Yeah, I had a super fun time writing this on stream as well, partly on stream. But yeah, the production on it was really cool. Again, I was in this kind of like trap phase, and like some of the snake bars in there were crazy, to be fair. Some of them were really good. But yeah, pretty good track. Again, I really enjoy it. It's one I will definitely listen to again and again. And that's something that I've noticed as well. Like a lot of these tracks in my latter half of the year, I can actually listen to and want to listen to myself, and that is how I know I've made a good song, in my opinion, if I actually want to listen to it. Because I am quite a harsh critique of my own music, and if I even like listening to my music, then, you know, other people probably will as well. Bleed Tomorrow. That, for me, is getting a good old A tier. Good old A tier for Bleed Tomorrow. Or you send it to me and I tell you it's garbage and throw tomatoes. Yeah, exactly. Stargirl is my quality control. That's how this works. That's how this transaction works. Anyway, Bleed Tomorrow, my Levi track. Really, really like it. I was really, really happy with how that chorus came out. I think it's one of the sort of first times I've been very successful with kind of orchestral stuff since Ripped Apart, and how War has been crafted. I think like the practice that I had on those two really came to fruition on Bleed Tomorrow. Tried to do a lot of layering. Like, my problem before was I wasn't doing enough layering, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm doing like 10 vocal tracks on this thing. And I did. I actually got the harmonies right. I even did this really, I did a falsetto that didn't sound very good, but just because it was like a texture within that chorus of so many elements already, it still sounded nice, and it really just elevated it with those little bit of highs. I think the verses are really good. I don't think I say much, honestly. There's a couple of bars in there, but I think that they were performed pretty well. There was one sloppy bit that I don't like very much, but I can kind of look past it because I think it is still presented in good delivery, just a little bit sloppy in the flow. But I did try and it wasn't like I didn't try to make it work. Like, I really did try to make it work, but I think it could have done with a rewrite rather than a re-performance. But yeah, now we come to our final track, which is Konoha Sensei's the last track of the year, and we all know it's going in S tier. We all know it's happening. We all know it's going in S tier. That's just of course it is. The question is where, and honestly, I think it's track of the year for me. I really think it's track of the year. Yeah, I think every single person on this just embodied their character, had incredible lines, had incredible delivery, good flows, and it all just aligned so perfectly. Again, it was like the casting was so good. I think the casting on this was better than Jinchuriki in places. The beat, I was really, really happy with the beat, really happy with the production on it. Yeah, I genuinely cannot fault this cipher. Like, there's so few things that I would change about this cipher. I can't even name any. I can't even think of like one thing I would change, because I just think of something and then I'm like, no, why would I can't change, no. The only thing I wanted to change potentially was the way that I said copied in the ad-libs. There was a way I wanted it to sound and I couldn't make it sound right, so I decided to just go for the average way of saying it. But I wish I'd tried a little bit harder to make it sound the way I wanted it to. But I just didn't know how. I just didn't know how at all. Copy Ninja racking all the views? Was that a Rustage reference? It actually was this time. It actually was a Rustage reference. But yeah, there we have it. There we have my 2020 song tier list for Conquest in this year that has been troublesome to many. But hey, at least we got some good songs out of it, right? But yeah, I mean, the fact that I've made 30, I think there's 39 songs here. The fact that I've made 39 songs this year is wild, and the fact that people have enjoyed them is even more wild. And yeah, look out for even more music in the future, and maybe we'll be seeing a lot more in this S tier than we have this year, because trust me, you know, we've learned from our mistakes in 2020, we've learned from our errors down here in the D and the C's, and we're going to try and make sure that S tier is the only thing we're going for. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this. I know I'm kind of ending the video and the stream at the same time, but it's fine. But yeah, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it a lot. And yeah, see you in the next one. Cheers.